Good morning. It's currently Tuesday. I'm heading to Nordstrom right now, and I honestly feel like hot ass, which is why I got a little cuter than usual today to offset feeling like hot garbage. Do you hear my voice? It sounds like that because of my allergies. I'm hoping. No, it's my allergies. I'm kidding. But yeah, it's Tuesday. I'm heading to Nordstrom today. I'm working there all week, and it should be a pretty chill week. I'm not sure what else I'll be doing this week, but I'll film as I go along and see what happens.
Listen, seeing you got ritualistic, cleansing my soul of addiction for now, cause I'm falling apart. Yeah, tension between us just like big fences. You got issues that I won't mention for now, cause we're falling apart.
We're in Fishkill, New York. We drove up here at like 6 a.m. to come see Nugget at his first soccer practice, and he was a star. Wasn't he a star?
He was amazing. He was
Continue.
amazing.
What's your overall review on Nugget's skill set?
Definitely 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
You know, pro athlete, you know.
Period.
He needs to be getting NFTs already.
Period. And NFTs.
Not NFTs. Yeah, I think that's NFTs. Take that part out.
I think I'm leaving it. How you feeling after soccer?
Good.
What you like better, soccer or football?
Attacking, soccer, and football.
Yay!
And wash me over until my will runs dry. Sin, I owe me, baby.
Hello. So I just got home from Nordstrom and I was debating to myself, should I spend the next couple of hours watching endless TikTok videos, or should I film a video about my modeling journey? I chose the modeling journey, so here we are. And I actually get asked this question a lot, either through people like in my DMs or just people I meet in person. And so this will kind of cover pretty much the steps or the path I took to get to where I am today. And that may vary for, you know, different people, but this is just what I did to get to where I am right now. So yeah. Okay, so I was very much the little girl who was just always obsessed with fashion, just the fashion industry and modeling and all that stuff. I was very much the one wearing my mom's heels through the hallways. Way before they could even fit me, I was always watching any type of fashion show that was on TV. And I was just always very like enamored by the fashion industry as a whole. And I knew since I was young that I wanted to be a part of it. And as I got older, I knew that I wanted to become a model within the industry. And of course, I had my inspiration, Naomi Campbell. She's like the OG of OGs, but I think the models that kind of really made me want to actually pursue this career was like the Joan Smalls, Jordan Dunn, Chanel Iman era. That era of Black models was really the era that I was at an age where I could actually appreciate what they were doing and what they were bringing to the industry. as Black models. And so it was after seeing them and while watching them and their careers progress and how much they impacted the industry, they're the reason why I decided that I actually fully want to pursue this as a career. Gratefully and thankfully, I have really supportive parents. And so when I was coming into high school, I would say they would start taking me to photo shoots and things like that. And if I heard of any castings in the city, I would like tell them and they would take me to them, and they just would be there to make sure I was safe in those environments, but also to help me like pursue them as much as I can. But of course, that wasn't really doing, not of course, but that wasn't really doing much for me at the time. It was just kind of getting me into that space and kind of getting me more acclimated with that space and what that industry was. So going into my sophomore year of high school, I met some friends and they pretty much led me to being signed by my first mother agency. And yeah, I signed with them maybe like 14 or 15. I was in that age space. And so that was my first time being like signed to an agency, which was like really exciting for me at the time. And I did like my first photo shoots. I did like runway practice, all those things with that agency. But as some time went by, not much was progressing while I was with them, and college was coming up around the corner, and I knew that that was something that I always wanted to do for myself, but also for like my parents. I have Caribbean parents. Education is very important to them, and honestly, it was very important to me as well. So I knew that that was something that I wanted to do as well. So I started applying into colleges. I was hoping something would come forward with modeling, like a career with a bigger agency in New York. That didn't happen, but I did get into my number one school, which was Syracuse University, so I decided to go. So now I'm at Q's and I'm enjoying myself, having a great time, meeting new people, woo woo. But in the back of my head, I'm still pretty much constantly thinking about what I know my passion is and what I really want to do, which is modeling. So as I'm going through like my years, I have friends who are like really honing in on the things that they want to pursue, and I'm kind of in this like limbo space, but it wasn't really a limbo space because I knew what I wanted to do. It was modeling. But because nothing was really coming forth with that, it was feeling a lot of pressure to like decide on a path, even though I knew what I wanted my path to be. And I knew what I felt my path was, but it just wasn't presenting itself yet. So I was studying psychology, but I was like, you know what, let me figure out a way that I can pivot to get into a career field that's still within the fashion industry, since that is where my passion is. And so I picked up a minor in writing and started tailoring that path towards PR. So I really wanted to go into fashion PR. And honestly, like even since I was younger, like I was always obsessed with the movie Devil Wears Prada, because again, I told you I was obsessed with fashion movies. And I always wanted to like work in like a office space and dress really cute and like in that environment, legit like the movie, without like the toxic mess that was happening in that movie, but ignore that. So I really wanted to do that. So I was like, you know what? Fashion PR seems like a good space for me to be in. I'm still in the industry that I really enjoy and really love. Maybe not doing exactly what I want to be doing, but that's where we're going to work for. So I started to like guide myself towards that. But then I decided to study abroad my senior year of college. So fall 2018, I went to London for that semester, and I honestly lived my best life. Like I was really thriving while I was abroad. And I was enjoying myself. Still in the back of my head, I'm still like in a fashion city. So I'm like, man, like maybe this is where I'm supposed to be to, you know, get that contract and start my modeling career. But nothing was hitting the way I wanted it to. Like I was submitting digitals still. I was submitting digitals throughout college too, and still nothing was coming through. I was submitting while I was in London, nothing was coming through, and I was like, this is really crazy. Why does no one see what I see? Like I'm not, like it's, I don't understand. But then, like the last week I was in London, I get a DM from some supposed management, and I was like, I don't know who this is, but this seems a little suspicious. But I was like, maybe it's the universe. So I responded and I was like, hey, and they were like, hey, you're so beautiful, da da da. Can you send us some pictures of you? And I was like, yeah. So I did. That, honestly, maybe don't do that. If people are reaching out to you, you don't know who they are, but I did it. Whatever. Responded, and they ended up sending my pictures to a couple agencies in London. Not that I knew about this, but they did. And they ended up telling me that select management wanted to meet me that week. Mind you, it's my last week while I'm in London, so I'm like, this is crazy. But I didn't tell anyone. Like, I had my roommates there, I didn't tell them what was going on. I was like, yeah, I can meet with select management because it's a huge model agency in London. And honestly, globally. So I was like, yeah, I can meet with select, like, duh. So I went to go meet with them and I was so excited. But then I got to the agency, met with one of the agents there. She really liked me, But she spoke to the team, and the team pretty much wanted me to have an agency in New York as well that they could like correspond with when it comes to me working, because I don't live in London. I was going back to New York next week. So that didn't work out, and I was like, this is really some bull. Like, it really is. But it like reignited that fire. It really like reignited the fire within me. And I was like, now, like, I was really pulled into an agency for a meeting. Someone random just hit me up on Instagram and kind of saw what I see in myself and wanted to give me a chance. And maybe it didn't work out, but that's just this one. Maybe the next one will. So I go back to New York, and that same management is still reaching out to me, and they're like, what do you want to do next? Like, do you want us to help you send yourself to agencies in New York? And I was like, yeah, I do. Like, please go forth. They ended up getting me a meeting with Maryland Models, which is also a really big agency in New York. They have an agency in Paris. And I was like, at the time, that's where Naomi Campbell was signed. So I was like, they want to meet me? Yes. So I went in and met with them once I got back from London. And the meeting actually went really, really well. But they knew that I was still in school. I had one more semester left. So they were like, you know what? Like, we really like you, but let's touch base when you finish school. If things go well, you'll just be able to start working full time. And I was like, I would love that. I was super hyped after that. Like, so I went back to my last semester of Qs, got that out the way, graduated. And then as soon as I got back to the city, I was like, I didn't even get back to the city yet, but graduation happened, and I immediately hit up the agent and I was like, hey, like, you know, I'm finished like with school, just following up, like, do you want to meet when I get back? And he was like, yes, of course. Like, can you come in next week? And I was like, this is it. This is the one. And it felt so good because he was like super, super excited about me. And I was like, yes, this is finally my time. And I was really excited. So once I had moved all of my stuff back from campus back home, I went in to meet with Marilyn again for the second time. Of course, they remembered me. They were really excited to like see me and talk to me, all that great stuff. But then the like manager at the time, she really wanted to see me with my hair out. And at the time I was transitioning. I was wearing braids all the time, and my hair was transitioning, and I just wasn't comfortable wearing my hair out yet, knowing that half was gonna be natural, half was stringy. I didn't feel comfortable like cutting it. It was like a whole thing. I was trying to figure out myself in like this whole natural hair space, and I wasn't confident in that yet. I was pretty much like, yeah, like my hair is transitioning, like I'm not wearing it out. Stupid. But I was like, I'm not wearing it out yet. Like, I'm just not doing that. Like a dummy. But honestly, I think I'll talk about just like the natural hair situation and modeling in general in a different video, because I still have my own opinions on that whole situation, and I'm honestly not mad that I took that stance when I did, but I'll talk about that another time. Because of that, pretty much because they couldn't see my natural look, which I guess is fair, whatever, they decided to not go forward with the contract, which was upsetting and disappointing as all fucking hell. But it is what it is. It didn't happen. So yet again, it fell through. And I don't know if you're noticing this pattern, but like I keep getting like a little close and then shit falls through. A step forward, but then it doesn't really click, and like it just kept happening. It was killing me. It really was. But each time like it would fall through, I just felt like more determined. You know what I mean? Like I just felt like more like, you don't see it, but I see it, and my time's coming. So fine, cool, whatever. But now I'm a college graduate, and my modeling career isn't starting yet, and I don't have a job. So I spent that summer pretty much applying to internships, and I ended up getting an internship at a fashion PR company, which is literally something that I wanted to do. And started working there. I hired after the internship full time, and I worked there for about 2-ish years, I feel like internship and job included, it was like 2-ish years. And as I'm working there, I'm really enjoying the work. Like I'm still like in the industry. I think it's fun. I loved my team. Like it was a great time. But I know what I want. Like I knew where I wanted to go, and this wasn't like it for me. It just wasn't what I wanted my adult years to look like. This is a great experience for me to have, and it was, but I was like, let me start putting myself out there again with modeling. So I started talking to like my team about like pretty much my goals. And since I was young, everyone always asked me like, are you a model? Are you a model? Are you a model? And I'm like, not yet, but like I would like to be. So my manager at the time, she was really great, and she was pretty much like, Trish, like you should model. Like we have a new client, they're launching their campaign. Like, do you want to be a part of it? And I was like, oh, yes, thank you for like thinking of me, because that's exactly what I want to do. I did that shoot, and I was so hyped because it was my first paid modeling job, and I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. This is the space where I'm meant to thrive. Like, and it was so much fun. I was like, this is what I want to be doing. So I did that, and all that I did was light another fire under my ass. And I was like, no, this is just, it was just like confirmation after confirmation. Like, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do. So not too long after that, an old friend from elementary school, me and her, we had the same modeling aspirations, and she reached out to me and let me know that she has a new mother agent, and she thinks that I would really like her, and she thinks that I should like reach out to her. And so I did, and she loved me and ended up taking me on as one of her models. And now that is my current mother agent, LaFleur Management, and Elizabeth. Love her. She's like a little firecracker, and she goes so hard for her girls, and she's great. So I signed with LaFleur Management, and I was really happy about that, and she began to develop me. And so development is just when like your mother agent or your agency, they pretty much get you practice in front of like the camera. So they prepare shoots for you, they help you with your walk, they practice you, taking digitals, just to prepare you to get into the industry and not be completely lost and not know what you're doing. Because if you're getting booked for jobs, they're expecting you to know. So that's pretty much what development is. And so that's what she did with me. And as she's doing that, she's pitching me to agencies, throughout the city. She called me and she was like, hey, Major Models wants to meet with you. Can you go in next week? And I was like, duh, like, yes, I can go next week. So I went in, I met with the agent, and he really liked me, and the meeting went really well, and I was really, really excited. Like, I know for a fact that, like, I told my parents at the time, and we're all like, okay, like, this is a really big deal, like, 'cause they know how long I've been wanting this and working towards this. So I went to that meeting, and by that time, my hair was fully transitioned, so I was growing my natural hair out. And I was excited because I knew that that was the barrier between me getting signed with the last agency. And I was like, well, that barrier's not there anymore, so you don't really have an excuse. I'm here to get signed and work for me and for you, so let's do this. So I met, the meeting went really, really great. And I was like, okay, that went really well. I left. They reached back out to my mother agent and was like, they want me to come in again to meet the VP. So I went in the following week, I believe, or maybe it was 2 weeks after that. I went in, met with the VP. She also really liked me, and I was like, okay, great. He told me, he was like, let's take some digitals. So we took some digitals there, and this is why development comes in handy, because I knew what those were, I knew what I need to do, and I knew what face I need to serve, like I knew what needed to happen. After the digitals, he was like, I shouldn't tell you yet, but we're gonna offer you a contract. And I was like, universe, thank you. Like, I wouldn't say I was jumping up and down in that agency. Like, he was like, oh my God. And I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm about to lose my shit. Like, I've been waiting for this moment for so long, and this is finally the moment. And I was so hyped. I left. I called my mom immediately. I told her what happened. I called my dad immediately, told him what happened. And we were all just so happy. Like, we were just like, this is finally happening, and this is a long time coming, but I also knew that it was just the beginning. And so they sent me my contract. I signed my contract. So I would now be signed with Major Models for a year and a half. I signed with Major Models, but it should be noted that I signed with Major Models during the pandemic. So I was so happy to be signed, but I had to give myself realistic expectations and goals for that time. So I had my goals and made my goals known to my agent, communicate that to him, but understood that it could be a slow start because we're in a pandemic. Like, what can I do? So we began with my development with photographers that he, pulled together for me, and started to build my book for the site. I got uploaded to the site, and I was so excited to finally see my face, on the agency website. And I was like, yes, this is lit. Woo woo. And then I just started going to castings. I was like going to castings, meeting, different clients, hoping that one of them would book me. And eventually I got booked. I think my first job was a showroom job for Nicole Miller, and she ended up being my first consistent client, which I was extremely grateful for, because what they don't tell you is that having consistent clients is key. It's not a stable industry, okay? You're a creative, you're like a freelance artist pretty much, and so your money comes in with each job. And honestly, I'll do a different video on like how the finances of all this works, because it's a whole other ball game, but it's very important to have consistent clients if you want to be making consistent, stable income. I was very grateful that Nicole and her team ended up becoming my first consistent client. I was working with them pretty often. And then Nicole decided to book me for their resort wear campaign for 2022. So that was my first campaign job that I had booked, and I was so excited because I knew that this was a job that was going to, one, give me a little more exposure, and I was gonna be in Vogue. So I was hyped. You feel me? Like, I was like, oh, this is lit. Like the pictures came out beautiful, and I ended up being in Vogue for the first time, which was an amazing experience. And I also ended up being in WWD and a couple other magazines. So I was like, this is great. And then Nicole texted me a couple weeks later, and she was like, the shoot's also going to be in the Daily Front Row magazine. And I was like, it's going to be printed? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, where do I get this magazine? Me and my mom and my dad spent like 2 weeks like going to different magazine shops waiting to find it. And Nicole was like, yeah, she'll send me one, but I was like, I need it now. Like, I need to see it now. So eventually, me and my family did find it. See? And that's me. And it was, and that's me. And that's me. Can you see? And that's me. And I was just like, this was my first time being in a magazine. I was so hyped. And after that experience, it was just further confirmation that this is what I want to be doing. I want to be doing more of this. I want to be doing this times 10. And I just want to keep growing and learning and progressing and expanding in this industry, and then eventually beyond, you know? So that's pretty much my modeling story of how I became a signed model. And I don't know, just thinking back to the entire process of how I got here, and just like seeing how many like close calls I almost had, and how many like almost got it but didn't really go through, like moments that I had, and it still led me to where I wanted to be. It just like shows me that like, no matter what detours or what roadblocks, you know, I may experience in life, if I have a goal, like I'm going to reach it. And it may not be in my timing, it may not be in the way that I want it to happen, but one way or another it's going to happen if it's meant for me. And I still feel that this is the journey that is meant for me, which is why I've gotten to this point so far, which is why I believe I'm going to achieve the things that I aspire to in the future. I'm excited for what's to come in the future, and I feel excited to share more with you guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.